Testing, 1, 2, 1 to get the pulpit. Oh, I don't know. I think he's working on some other sound though too. So, hello, testing, testing, testing. Good on the live stream. Any more tests that you need me to do, Mike? Oh, that's yours. I hit a button with this thing. It's playing tricks on me. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. I can't hear you back here.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
One of the reasons why that was the case is because it was, when you hit test, do the test again.
Testing.
Yeah, we need to turn this down. Okay, hit it again.
The one constant through all the years has been baseball.
Does that sound still a little bit muffled, but
Testing.
does that sound better than it sounded before?
Hello.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, turn the volume down on the microphone. Hello. Hello. Unless this pre-out, unless it's not supposed to be plugged into the pre-out, is there another out?
Not another out. I think let's try something real quick. Here, can you move this?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
You're right. I thought that was one of the delays.
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, we might need this back because we're about to start.
Okay,
So it is a little scratchy through the microphone.
it is. Oh dear.
It's just a little scratchy. People will complain. But that would make them understand.
Eileen, can you turn on the main camera? That's green. Which one should Reverend Joanna look at? Turn on the alternate one, please. I'm thinking I'm talking to no one. Nice hat.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, because he bothers me, so. Yeah, the wind is starting to pick up, so the cold front is hitting. No, it's not going to be a real strong one. Okay.
I don't know what to make of this.
Wait before you go in. Elaine, how does this sound? Can you text me? Oh, no, she said it sounds worse now.
What did you do?
Could you turn back up the mic? Let's turn back up the mic real quick. Hello, how's it sound, Eileen? Text me. We got it better at some point. Eileen, sounds fine now? Okay. Yeah, I think it's because I turned up the mic.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't.
Test, test. Hi, Eileen, how does that sound now?
Good morning. Good morning. Our prelude this morning was Crimson Rhapsody by Timothy Brown, played by Rebecca Mays. Whether you're participating online or here in person, we say welcome home to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Barbara Coldiron, and I'm so glad you're here. For our guests, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the Live Oak weekly newsletter. It's the go-to place to know everything that is happening here. There's a link on our homepage. Thanks to all for continued care in continuing in following the current guidelines for in-person services so we can provide as safe an environment as possible during what remains of this challenging time. We wear masks, observe social distancing, and use gestures of respect and connection other than hugs to greet each other. And we keep a sense of humor during it all. And now, here and at home, let us light our chalices. Let There Be Light by Gordon B. McKinnon. Let there be light. Let it shine in dark places, in moments of pain, in times of grief, in the darkness of hatred, violence, oppression, where there is discouragement and despair. Wherever darkness is to be put to flight, let there be light.
You jinxed me.
Uh-oh. I think it's,
We were both tested ahead of time. Okay, we are metaphorically lighting it, and I'm going to ask one of our home team to go find me another lighter because we will need it later in the service.
okay. Our opening hymn is I Know This Rose Will Open, performed by Laurie Sifke.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
You see why the very most important phrase of Barbara's welcome was, and we keep a sense of humor through it all. I know I wasn't the only one with that first hymn going, I know this chalice will light, I know this light will light. I'm Reverend Joanna. Today is a precious gift, and even with this wind, it is such a gorgeous day. Let us rejoice and be glad in this day and that we are together. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I want to take a moment to extend a very special welcome to everyone who's visiting us. Rather than gathering because we all believe the same things, we are an intentional community that is gathered around our shared promise to support each other's individual spiritual journeys. And we are also intentional about bringing all ages together. In today's world, that often doesn't happen, but we think that it is important for an adult friend to be able to ask a child or an adult, hey, how's it going at school? How'd you do on that science test? Or for a 30-year-old and a 70-year-old to just be able to chat about life after the service or while doing a project together. Though we do not require everyone to share the same beliefs, you will still find that many of us have many values in common. We believe in science, reason, the equality of all, and the need for equity. We know that Black Lives Matter. We value reproductive justice, and we celebrate the LGBTQIA+ community. We work to make love the doctrine of our lives and to put it in action through service in this church and out in the world. So that's a little bit about us, and I hope after the service maybe you can stay and chat and let us know a little bit about you. May we celebrate the promises and the possibilities of this day together. Every week when we gather, we share pieces of our lives with each other. We share our sorrows so that we may offer comfort to one another, and we share our joys so that we may celebrate together. And today, Hella Hollebuck shares that Barbara Rawson is asking for help. Her home health agency has been unable to supply enough caretakers. Anyone who is looking for a job, please apply, and you can absolutely talk to me about that if you are interested or if maybe you have a friend who might be. Oh, Mike Schultz shares that his brother, who is in the ICU with COVID, has been intubated. Our prayers go to him. Mark E. Anderson shares, my joy is the rare opportunity to see billions of stars this week at Canyon of the Eagles Park on Lake Buchanan. And Barbara Coliron shares that her brother and best friend have COVID, but so far they are doing okay. In this religious community, we hold with deep reverence the knowledge that each week a multitude of different emotions and experiences are brought together into this space. One of us may be celebrating while one is weeping. One is filled with determination while another is filled with despair. The mosaic of all of these experiences is holy, and we honor all with our witness. And now, our big idea. So, Unitarian Universalism is a deliberately syncretic religion, and at this church, we draw wisdom from wherever we can find it. You'll often hear me quoting from the Bible or science, philosophy, the Bhagavad Gita. And for the next 3 Sundays, the television show Ted Lasso. So let me set up the scene that we are about to reenact. Ted Lasso is an American football coach who is coaching a British soccer team, or as they call it, football. But they are feeling haunted. Literally haunted. They feel that there is a curse on their treatment room. So Ted decides that they have a curse to reverse and enlists the help of May, a local pub owner and #1 fan of the team, to deal with this. So I will be May and the narrator, and Barbara here in the mustache will be Ted. Are you a fast, fit fan of football? Hundreds of those posters were put up around Richmond on the 18th of November, 1914. It was an invitation for young men to try out to be a professional footballer. It said to come to our stadium that day. And it was a lie. In 1914, the war was raging. There was no tryout, just recruiters waiting to encourage those boys to fight the fight. They enlisted 400 lads that day. Very few of them came home.
After they enlisted, they went to our treatment room for their physical.
The players, when they heard Ted say that, began babbling about the curse put on their treatment room. 400 ghosts. How could they fight them all?
We're not going to fight them. We can't change the past, but we can choose to honor it. Now, those young men, they made the ultimate sacrifice. So I think it's only fair that we sacrifice something of our own. I'm going to ask each and every one of you to go home tonight, find something, an item, something personal, something that you truly value, and I want you to bring it tonight to the clubhouse at midnight.
The teammates do so, bringing things that hold emotional significance. The blanket that Roy's grandfather gave him before he died. The running shoe that Jamie's mother got him when she got him involved in football. A picture of the 1994 Nigerian World Cup team. The collar from Higgins' beloved deceased cat. They all go into the fire bin.
Gentlemen, I am by nature a believer. Ghosts, spirit guides, aliens. Still, I can't actually tell you what lives beyond our physical world and what doesn't. What I can tell you is that with the exception of the wit and wisdom of Calvin and Hobbes, not much lasts forever.
Every member of the team, even the owner, Rebecca, brings something to be thrown in the fire as a sacrifice. They honor all the soldiers from 1914, everything that they gave up with their sacrifice, and by doing so, they remove their fear about a curse. Thank you. I think the mustache suits you.
Thank you. Every week, we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity, combining our resources to support the ministries of this church. Part of our mission is to empower dreams, and this Sunday we will be sharing the offering with Hill Country Community Ministry to help empower their dreams to serve those with limited assets, income constraints, the unemployed, and the hungry. If you wish, you may go to liveoakuu.org to donate or place a check in the green offering box after the service. Our offertory music today is Winter Solstice by Michael Scott, played by Rebecca Mays.
Our service this morning is a vehicle to help us move with intentionality through the liminal space of the old year that has ended and the new year that is just beginning. This January is an especially liminal time as we move through the Omicron spike that has meant we have to once more adjust our behaviors and worry about illness, while at the same time holding on to the hope that this will not last. It may not even last that much into February. So to get through this, we are turning to a show that some of us have an almost fanatic fervor about, the show Ted Lasso. So Ted is an American football coach hired by a bitter divorcee to coach a London soccer team. Her initial hope is that he will run it into the ground, as it is one of the few things her lout of an ex-husband really loved, and she's feeling a little vindictive. But Ted is a really different animal, and people don't know what to do with them. See, his mission is to help every player become the best person that they can be. Not just the best player, but the best person, to become healthy and happy and fulfilled. And he doesn't use this particular term, but I can tell you he's also coaching them to be self-differentiated. It's not easy, They, like all of us, carry their own wounds and their unhealthy vows. One, Jamie Tart, is a right jerk. He is a rock star footballer who doesn't appreciate the concept of team. He will go out and say, me, me, me. At practice, when good guy Sam Obisanya slips and falls, Jamie says to the rest of the team, someone get some flowers because this spot here is right where Sam died. Coach Lasso sees that Sam is struggling, so he calls him over for perhaps some puzzling advice. You know what the happiest animal on earth is? It's a goldfish. You know why? Got a 10-second memory. Be a goldfish, Sam. Be a goldfish. It's a puzzling idea. There are some Sundays where you just got to say, okay, so I'm just going to go with this. This is just how this Sunday is going to be. Be a goldfish. It's a puzzling idea. Forget what happened 10 seconds ago. I like the concept, the freedom of being able to just live in the here and now, not stressing over past mistakes, not too tied up in what the future might hold. But I also think that ignoring the past can look like denial. And it's just too hard to escape that, right? Anyone who has tried to practice the art of denial probably knows what that's like, right? Like when you don't attend to your grief and then you wind up in the middle of the H-E-B frozen food aisle bursting into tears. I know I'm not the only one who has had denial come back and bite me. But this idea of be a goldfish, there is something in that. We're going to come back to it later in the service. In that episode about curses, Ted asked the teammates to bring things that they valued as sacrifices to be burned. You don't need to do that because you have already sacrificed so much. Long planned trips, time with loved ones, relationships, being able to gather with friends to play pub trivia, music concerts, proms, graduations, in-person weddings or funerals, parties, being able to live with lightness rather than this heaviness that seems to follow us everywhere. I'm not going to ask you to sacrifice anything today because you've already sacrificed so much. Today, we're going to name what you have already sacrificed. We are going to honor your sacrifice. We don't want to become the ghosts haunting future members of Live Oak. So we're going to name those sacrifices and hopefully set fire to them and let them go. This morning involves writing, so if you are near someone who may struggle to write, you might offer your assistance. And this morning also involves fire, we hope, so we have brought a bucket of water closer as a precautionary gesture. Adults who are here with children, please provide companionship and guidance when we come to the parts of the service that involve flame, and pay attention to sleeves and scarves and long hair. So much of this morning has been planned out. This is something that even in the before times we used to do, although we have never done it outside before. Inherent in any service that involves audience participation, there are bound to be issues that will arise. Your patience, curiosity, and if necessary, assistance will be much appreciated. We have just come to the end of yet another very long, very taxing year. We are entering into the next one, a year that promises more opportunities to practice courage and compassion, to grow resilience and resistance, and to find out where our limitations are and grow them in service of bending the moral arc of the universe toward justice. So in a few minutes, you're going to be asked to come up to the stations that we have up here. Let me explain what each one is, and when we start, you'll see me show you what we're going to be doing. And you're going to be coming behind these and moving from right to left. So, at the farthest station, you see that bowl down there. In that is some flash paper. And so we're going to be burning pieces of paper containing a brief description or a word or a symbol that represents something that we have sacrificed over the last 2 years. This is our opportunity to shift, to see in new ways. It's also the chance, rather than clinging to what is familiar, to practice letting it go. It's too heavy to carry it around all the time. We are not making a clean slate or denying what we've lost, what we've sacrificed, but we can consider it, as the Reverend Claudia Naylor describes, leaving behind the baggage, not by denying facts or events, but by subtracting the emotional content so that we can get the lesson, get going, and get growing again. So you'll begin by going to that farthest table, and you're going to get a small piece of flash paper. My wonderful, wise worship leader, Barbara Coldiron, had the foresight. She saw that it might be windy, and she has a little cloth envelope that they're in, so you can just pull them right out. On it, there's some pins over there. You'll write a word or a symbol to represent something that you have sacrificed. Your sacrifice, even if you didn't choose it, was not in vain. Let me say that again, because right now, even your sacrifices, some people will tell you that they were controversial. They were not, and they were not in vain. Many of those sacrifices you made resulted in protection for others. It meant fewer people in an overburdened hospital, fewer people sick or dying. Your sacrifice meant something, even to people who will never know what you gave up in order to do so. But we are going to honor it now. We are going to consecrate it with fire. And then we throw it up to be reclaimed by the universe of which we are a vital part. Now, this is a special paper that magicians use that will flame up and disappear with no ash. Again, you're going to see me do it if you haven't done this before. You're going to dip it into the flame, assuming we can get the flame working, and you just flick your hand up, and it's kind of amazing because it just completely disappears. And I realize that not all of us are comfortable with fire, so if you would like me to hold the paper and dip it in the flame and flick it away, I'm happy to do that. And these words are for you. May you know that your sacrifice was needed and valuable. May regret and heaviness be replaced with strength and peace. In the words of my friend and colleague, Reverend Victoria Weinstein, may you be relieved and renewed, ever mindful that love is always more powerful than fear, and that compassion is the key to freedom from resentment. After that, we're going to move to the weeping well, this glass vase and bowl that are right here. Most of the messages that we hear in our culture encourage us to push away the pain, to deny it or minimize it, to immediately turn it into some life lesson that makes us wiser or stronger. Yet it's important for our physical health, our emotional health, and our spiritual health to acknowledge the pain in our lives, the loss, the disappointments, the betrayals, and the hurts. To give pain its due, so that we might move through it to find what is on the other side. In the show Ted Lasso, there's another character that if you watch the show, I think you'll fall in love with, named Keely. And she says, problems, they're like mushrooms. The longer you leave them in the dark, the bigger they get. So at this station, our task is to honor our pain, and to do so by adding a stone to our weeping well. As you do so, you may do it silently or whisper the pain that you are naming and honoring. You may want to hold the stone tight in your fist or close to your chest as you bring your attention to the task of giving the pain a name. And as each of us adds our stone, the well will overflow, weeping for the pain in our lives and in the world. After that, you'll move to the final station, this basket here with the pens and the yellow paper. And this final station is affirmation. We all need to feel affirmed and given hope, to have someone see us and encourage us. And that's perhaps the biggest message of the Ted Lasso series, that to see what is good in others and to encourage them in living out lives of joy and fulfillment, that may be our most important mission in life. So at this last station, take one piece of paper. You don't have to do it here. You can return to your seat, grab a pen. Think about something perhaps that someone has written to you or said to you, or something that you would like to write to someone else. And we're going to be sharing these, so please make it kind of general. What would make somebody's day and make them feel valued? I ask you to write that down. If you've got a wee one with you, feel free to help them. We want to know what their affirmations would be too. At the end of the service, I'm going to ask you to give those back to me so that they can be compiled into a slideshow we can visit whenever we need some encouragement. And those of you at home, I'm going to be asking for your help too. Not yet. First, concentrate on the first two things, the sacrifices that you've made and the griefs you're carrying. If you feel comfortable doing so, please feel free to share those in chat. And I'm going to come back to y'all later in the service for your affirmations. So, I'm going to show you what to do, and I invite you to begin coming forward. We'll see if we can get either that candle or the chalice lit. There's a famous UU reading, and I'm completely blanking on his name. Carrie, if you think of the name, yell it out, about how when our own candle goes out, that there are people who will relight it for us. But I think we should also give credit for those who protect the flame and keep it from going out. Tim Buckley and Barbara Coldiron, thank you so much. There's so much symbolism in that. As we say in my business, that'll preach. So we burn this last square of paper for any unnamed sacrifices we have made in service to humanity. We add this last stone for all the pain that goes unrecognized, all the harm not stopped, and for those not with us today, but who would want us to honor their pain. In the words of Unitarian Universalist A. Powell Davies, when sorrow comes, let us accept it simply as a part of life. Let the heart be open to pain, let it be stretched by it. All the evidence we have says that this is the better way. An open heart never grows bitter, or if it does, it cannot remain so. In the desolate hour, there is an outcry, a clenching of the hands upon emptiness, a burning pain of bereavement, a weary ache of loss. But anguish, like ecstasy, does not last forever. There comes a gentleness, a returning quietness, a restoring stillness. This too is a door of life. Here also is the deepening of meaning, and it can lead to dedication, a going forward to the triumph of the soul, the conquering of the wilderness. And in the process will come a deepening inward knowledge that in the final reckoning, all will be well. Those at home, if they can still hear me, I now invite you to share your affirmations in the chat, and I will be capturing all of those later to put into our slideshow. In the last episode of the first season of Ted Lasso, they're sitting together, they're exhausted and brokenhearted. They lost a very important game despite playing hard and smart. And Coach Lasso says to them, now look, this is a sad moment right here for all of us. And there ain't nothing I can say standing in front of you right now that can take that away. But please do me a favor, would you? Lift your heads up and look around this locker room. Yeah? Look at everybody else in here. And I want you to be grateful that you're going through this sad moment with all these other folks. And I promise you, there is something worse out there than being sad, and that is being alone and being sad. Ain't nobody in this room alone. Sam, do you remember what animal has the shortest memory? Sam says, a goldfish. That's right, it's a goldfish. Sam, what do you think we should all do once we get done being sad and or angry about this situation? Sam says, I think we should all be a goldfish. Ted says, I agree. Let's be sad now. Let's be sad together. And then we can be a gosh darn goldfish. Onward, forward. Would you now join me in a moment of prayer and reflection? Spirit of life, which we call by many names or no name, but which calls each of us beloved. For so many of us, our hearts are heavy, going through yet another wave of this pandemic, even after all of the vaccinations and boosters, It can trick us. It can give us the impression that we are forever in this purgatory. May we remind ourselves and each other of the science that says this is not so. May we bring hope when hope is hard to find. May we find joy wherever we can and lift up our sacrifices not with resentment, but with the knowledge that we have, like so many humans before us, answered the call to work for the common good with nobility. May we keep those most vulnerable, the children and others who can't get the vaccine, in our hearts as we pray and hope for protection for them. And may we have the strength and the resilience to move on, onward and forward. Amen. May it be so. Our closing hymn is We Are Rising Up, which is performed by Bill Dower, Elizabeth Mays, and Rebecca Mays. Okay, it's just going to be one of those Sundays, and that just happens sometimes, folks. I'll invite our Director of Lifespan Faith Development. Oh, there we go.
We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly high. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. So siblings and spirits, spread your wings and fly higher.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Krause, the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at Live Oak. I wanted to let you know that today the adult social justice class will not be happening. We have a lot of people interested in taking it, and it's better done inside, so that's been postponed until March. However, I have some all-ages activities set on the table back here, some welcome signs to make and some games to play. If anybody's interested in joining us, bring a chair over, and I'll be over there to greet you. Otherwise, I hope to see you next week.
May you too rise like a phoenix from the fire. May whatever comes this next week, may you handle it in stride, knowing once again that you are not doing this life all alone, that you have a community here to go on this journey with you. And may you go forward knowing that you are lovable and loved, ever reminded that life is fragile and a gift, and you are not alone.
We extinguish this flame, metaphorically, but we recommit anew to carrying out in our week the flames of justice and love. May we share with others the courage and strength we find here. Go in peace.